Yeah, I don't know about that guy either. I just, he was there one moment and the next he was eaten by a spider. I don't know. It was crazy. What? What? Oh, oh, hi. How you doing? Sea Mason 1015 coming at you live from the basement down the stairs. And I'm on Fall Damage Feed the Beast right now. And I was just over there talking to Bob, the guy who's in the workshop, and yeah, we just shooting it. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about a mod that I don't feel like it's a good enough press, a good enough wrap. We use some things and other things we kind of stay away from and stuff that I see. And it's factorization. And specifically, I want to talk about the ore processing for factorization. I think that the ore processing is really a great mod. And if you're willing to put the time into it, it could be you might find it very, very useful also. So let's do that first and take a look at things. Now, there are three big reasons I think why people don't use factorization. The first thing is time. And the ore processing for factorization does take a lot of time, especially when you get to the crystallizer. The other big thing is power. So the factorization stuff uses factorization power, and the setup for that isn't really compatible with anything else. So it's it's a little bit more difficult to justify setting stuff up just for 4 machines or 5 machines or whatever than than it is to set up EU power for all your Mace Raiders and stuff like that. And then the third thing is automation. And the problem with that is that factorization is not really ready to be it's very difficult to automate. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, things like the mixer. So the mixer uses water buckets. Now, in a lot of other things, you can pump water into the machine and it'll be okay, but not in the mixer. You have to actually use buckets of water. So there is that. Things like the crystallizer. So for the crystallizer, it has these when you're processing ore, it has these 5 slots that you put your reduced chunks in, and one for the aqua regia. Well, the problem is if you just try to pump the reduced iron chunks in through the top, it's going to fill up this slot first to 64, then this slot to 64, and so on and so forth. And the problem is that this crystallizer takes 20 minutes to run one cycle. So if you've got all of your reduced iron chunks in here, say you've got 30 of them in here, well, you could have split them up into 5 and then had, like, I don't know what that would be, like, you know, 6 per uh, 6 per slot. You'd have to run 6 cycles. But if you just pump them in straight, you'd have 30 in here, and you'd have to run 30 cycles of 20 minutes each. That's an issue. But the great thing about the factorization mod is that it gives you at or over 3-to-1 return on your ores. So if you put in 1 iron ore, you can get back up to 3 and sometimes more than 3 um, iron ingots out of it. You just have to be willing to be a little patient and stuff like that. As far as the automation and power, we can solve those pretty quick. So I want to show you what I've done here on my world to deal with the power. Now, I had one base where I actually did create the power source, which was like the solar turbine thing, and then you have to surround it by mirrors and stuff like that. And it worked okay, but since we upgraded to the ultimate pack, we actually have power converters. So check it. I have um, my EU, and I think this is a medium, maybe it's a high voltage one, I don't remember. But anyway, I've got a consumer of EU. I've got my energy bridge. Yeah, that is a medium voltage IC2 consumer. And then I've got a factorization output, right? So all I have to do is wire it from here over to my components, and I'm done. So there is the energy issue right there. Oh, stop that. There's the energy issue right there. The other issue is the automation. We're going to go over to the creative world, and I've actually improved on this automation. Um, and I'll show you that. But this is pretty fully automated. So you put in your ore here, and it goes to your mixer, your slag furnace, and then the chunks end up in here. Now from there, I do have to put them in by hand here. But again, it's one of those things where you get such a good return, and it takes a little time to do. And I actually set up a few more crystallizers because I'm a little impatient myself. I'll be the first to admit it. But it's really great if you can do that. And a crystallizer is so easy to make. So I mean, um, look, stick, string, cauldron, boom, you're done. So a lot of this stuff is actually really, really easy to make. The most intensive thing to make, the most difficult thing to make, is actually the grinder. And I think that's because a you have to have this diamond cutting head, and it is made up of diamond shards, 8 diamond shards, and a diamond shard is unfathomable. It won't show you. Nice. But a diamond shard, you can look it up on the wiki. It takes a diamond. It takes a diamond block to do. So it's pretty intensive. The rest of this stuff is very, very easy to make and stuff. So it's definitely cool. My understanding is that the results that you get off of this are equivalent to better than a Fortune 3 pick. And this never wears out like a Fortune 3 pick will. So definitely one. I know they're going to listen to me. Definitely worth building. So let's jump over to creative, and I will see you over there. You want to come over too? No? No? You want to go get a beer later? Yeah, I'd like to go get a beer later. You, we, we'll finish your work, and I'll finish this with these guys, and then we'll go get a beer. Okay. Okay, we're over here in creative, and I've built a test bed right here of what we've got. And I actually discovered while I was building this that in my FTB world, I use red power to do some timing and stuff like that. And unfortunately, in Unhinged and Unleashed, the new packs that are coming out that are 1.5.2, red power 2 is not moving forward. So I have to figure out what I had to figure out what to do to not use red power. And as it turns out, the answer was pretty darn simple. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So over here, I have everything you're going to need for this build. So you're going to need the factorization components for ore processing, which is a grinder, a mixer, a slag furnace, and a crystallizer. You're also going to need 3 buckets of water for the mixer. You're going to need a furnace heater, each for the slag furnace and crystallizer. You're also going to need a bottle of aqua regia for the crystallizer. You're going to need a bunch of lead wire to power all of this, and a chest to put your stuff within. You're also going to need a liquid transposer and an aqueous accumulator, and an electrical engine to power the liquid transposer. As far as piping, pretty simple stuff. 3 wooden transport, 8 cobblestone, 2 diamond, 2 sandstone, 3 golden, an iron, and then 3 autarctic gates. So you're going to need to be able to make autarctic gates. You can use redstone engines, but it's just going to add to the bulk of everything. Some blocks that I didn't include just because, I figure you're going to be building this probably not underneath a platform like this, is going to be some glass to hold in the water that's going to fill up the aqueous accumulator. Okay, so let's start some building. I have marked where the pillar that comes up underneath this platform with this piece of iron ore. And I'm only doing that so we know where to put things. So the first things we're going to do is put down our basic components. So there's our grinder, there's our mixer, let's put down the crystallizer here, and then the slag furnace, I know I'm going to have to put on top of a furnace heater, so we're just going to, why'd I do that? So we're just going to do that real quick. We'll put the furnace heater down, and then the slag furnace goes on top. So those are our 4 main components. I'm also going to do the cutouts in the floor for all of the piping and wiring and everything else that we're going to need. So one underneath the grinder, one underneath the mixer, one in the center of this all, one right underneath the heater for the slag furnace, and then one right under the crystallizer. And while we're just down here, let's just put the furnace heater under the crystallizer. Excuse me. So good. On to the next step. Okay, for the next step, we're just going to run the cabling real quick. So I went ahead and ran cable all the way from the power converters and from the ultimate hybrid solar panel. So this will hold off on, but the lead wire for factorization itself, let's go ahead and hook up. So we're going to come up here, and then we're going to go straight over, cross this. See, that already lit up. And then up here and there, and that one lights up too. Now let's hit these two guys. So here's the deal. We have to leave these 2 holes under here open for the piping to come out of. So I'm going to just have to run the wire, the wire around, and I did this over on the other one too. Right, like this, and then up, and then, oh, hey, come back here. And learn to fly. There we go. And there we go. There. The cool thing about this too is that this stuff you can fly right through it, so it's no big deal. So now everything is wired and powered. On to the next step. Okay, the next step is going to be putting down some of the excess components for all this to work. So we're going to do things like get the chest in place. So the chest is going to hold all the final products that are needing to go to the crystallizer. Then we're going to come straight down here, and I want to put down just a few things real quick. We are going to come down. So I know that my aqueous accumulator is going to go right underneath here. So my liquid transposer is going to go right there. My aqueous accumulator is going to go right next to it. Okay. So now what we want to do is set these up to where they're going to talk to each other. So I'm going to put the output for my aqueous accumulator to the, what was that, left? To the left. And then I'm going to put my input, I'm going to turn off and bottom. I'm sorry, that's top, so that's going to be an input. This side's going to have nothing. This side's going to be an input for the water, so that needs to be an input. And then the back is going to be the output. So if we look at the back here, the back is going to be an output. So nothing on this side, nothing on this side, or nothing on the bottom. Hello, bat. You are squeaky and annoying. Get rid of that block right there. Again, I'm going to assume that you're probably going to have blocks underneath here, like this will be kind of a dugout that you'll have. Okay. Now we can start roughing in the pipes. So for the mixer, so everything that's going to be outputting is going to need a wooden output pipe to begin with. So The grinder needs an output pipe. The mixer, might not be tall enough there. There we go. The mixer needs an output pipe, okay? The slag furnace needs an output pipe too, but it is going to take its stuff out of the side, so we'll just put an output pipe there. The next thing we will want to do is attach some cobblestone piping to things. And I'm sorry, let's take care of this first real quick. So we are going to need a diamond pipe coming off of the mixer. So empty buckets will go into the liquid transposer, and then they will come out and go right back into the system through the back. Same thing with the grinder. We're just going to bring stuff down and over. Okay. We'll also need an iron pipe. Let me get up here. We will also need an iron pipe. Now here's the thing. You can use cobblestone pipes here, but to speed things up, this is where the 3 golden pipes come in, because remember the golden pipes speed things up. So we're going to put one there. Number 2 goes there. And number 3 will go up to the top. We're going to have an iron pipe right here, so that's going to shove everything upward and not let it go to either side. We will need I forgot to get it. Let's do this real quick. I said you'd need it, and I forgot to get it myself. Sandstone pipe. So here is our sandstone pipe. And those, if you want to, you can use another golden pipe here, because that's not interfering with anything. But then you don't want, as this pipe comes up, you don't want it running into that chest. So see, like if you put a cobblestone pipe, see how it'd go into that chest, and that's not what you want. So you want a sandstone pipe there. And then on top of that, we're going to put our second diamond pipe. Then we will connect some things up with our cobblestone pipe. So there's a few things there. And let's just finish this out with our cobblestone pipe up there. Okay. So actually the golden pipes down here will speed everything up to the point where you don't need any more golden pipes, but that's using 3 golden pipes there. And really it's mainly for bucket speed up, because you don't want to keep your mixer waiting for your buckets, and you can only have the 3 buckets in there. So now we have set our piping up. While we're at it real quick, let's go ahead and set up the water and electrical engine for our liquid transposer and our aqueous accumulator. So to do this, we're going to create a couple of little reservoirs for water, and we can break some of this out, right? And then water goes in there, and then we'll come over here and boop, right? And water goes in here, and it won't flow out because this pipe actually fills up the entire block. But there's our water, and our aqueous accumulator is accumulating, but it's going down. And the reason why it's doing that is because it's going right into our liquid transposer. Beautiful. Now let's take our electrical engine and put it at the bottom of that. We will take our electrical wire, glass fiber cable, and connect. Where am I at here? Is that it? That's it. Glass fiber cable that goes like that. While you're at it, you'll want to make sure that you have a solid block right there between this golden pipe and your electrical engine, and that will come into play very quickly. So in order to draw everything out, you're going to need to have some way of having the wood pipes draw stuff out. Now, like I said, you can use um, redstone engines, but that's awfully tough. If you have the assembly table, that's the easier thing to do, the easier thing to do. And so all you have to do with this is just put your autarctic gates there and just go, if you've got stuff in your inventory, items in inventory, energy pulsar. And we will do this, items in inventory, energy pulsar. And that will actually pull stuff out of these pipes. Now for this gold pipe right here, what you want to do is stick your autarctic gate on there. And here you just want to say, okay, if it can store if it can store energy, and it's talking about the liquid transposer, we're going to put out a redstone signal. So that actually puts out a redstone signal, which powers this block. The block powers the electrical engine, and viola. There we go. And it'll power it up. And then anytime that so this will always stay fully charged, basically. The liquid transposer will. Okay? Easy schmeasy. The final one is for the slag furnace. And again, it's the same thing. If it's got items in inventory, energy pulsar, space in inventory. Items in inventory is what you want. Guys, we're just about done, except for we've got to set up our diamond gates. I'll be right back for that. Okay, one thing before I forget we need to do is we need to have this iron gate here tell everything to go upwards, because everything's going to come from here and here and go straight up. And as it is right now, see how this is kind of opaque? That means it's going to be blocked. So what we want to do is use our wrench and just hit it. And I just have to hit it once in this case. But you can, where it goes clear, that's where the throughput's going to be. So we just want to make sure that that is clear. Outside of that, the next thing that we want to do is set up our diamond gates to tell where we want things to go. So for instance, in this case, this is coming off of the mixer. So the mixer creates clean iron clean chunks and sludge. It also is going to have a bucket in there, an empty bucket, because it used that water to clean the dirty gravel. So we want empty buckets to go to the black. So we'll do that. We want everything else basically, because everything else needs to go up, including regular buckets. They're going to get filled in here. They're going to come up here, but then they're going to shoot out. And remember, we have to load everything from the top. So everything else is going to go through the green gate. So let's have the buckets go through the green gate, and then we'll have each type of clean chunks, go through the green gate. And we won't, and the sludge too. The sludge needs to go through the green gate too. Okay? Now for the upper one, that's going to be where we have to tell it where to put everything. So the yellow gate is where we're going to want the dirty. Okay, so let's deal with this one at a time. So dirty chunks are going to come out of the grinder, and we want them to go to the mixer. So dirty chunks need to go to yellow. So let's just put those there. And also, the other thing that the grinder needs is full water buckets. So water buckets go through there too. The white gate, so the mixer is going to create the clean chunks and the sludge. Okay? So we want the sludge to go to the red gate, which is in this chest, but we want the clean chunks to go through the gray, well, I guess the gray gate there. So let's put the clean chunks there. Clean chunks, clean chunks. And then we know that the sludge is going to go to there, so let's put that there. So clean chunks go to the slag furnace. The slag furnace produces the reduced iron chunks. Those need to go in this chest also. So let's just put all of the reduced iron chunks in here. And I want to show you something too. So I have more reduced iron chunks than I do clean chunks, right? I have one more. Well, what happens to galena when you put that in the slag furnace? You'll get silver, sorry, you'll get lead and silver. So that's why you have one extra. Okay? Easy schmeezy. So now that we have everything wired up and everything like that, I think this is ready to go. It's not that difficult to put together, certainly not as difficult as some other things. It just takes a little bit of work and stuff like that. So, without further ado, let's get some water buckets. 2, 3. And you want to fill your... So, only 3 because you've got to have a place for the dirty chunks to go, right? So, let's try... Do I have any? I don't. And I'll just do that for a while and derp about. And let's just do iron ore. So we'll do... Let's do a quarter stack of iron ore and see how this works. I won't stay here through the... We'll kind of do a cutscene through the whole thing. But notice we did 16 iron ore. Okay, our grinder is starting to go. So 16 should produce, I mean, I would expect to see 48. That would be triple. So there was 2, did you see that? There was 2 dirty chunks just from one ore. So we've already doubled, just in that one anyway, we've doubled our output. So let's see what we get here. Chaboom, there it is again. Now you won't get 2 every time. It is a random chance-based thing. So here comes our dirty iron chunks ready to roll. Or dirty iron, what is that, gravel? That's dirty iron gravel. Here goes our mixer. And it is mixing away. There we go. There's some clean chunks. Here's another one. More clean chunks. There's some sludge. And let's see how this is going. So yeah, there goes our buckets, our full buckets. There goes our empty buckets, and away we go. So we are cooking with gas there. Our liquid transposer is staying powered thanks to our autarctic gate there. Let's go check out our slag furnace is already going. The slag furnace cooks pretty darn quick. And we already have some sludge and some reduced iron chunks. So we are going to town. So I'll do a cutscene here and come back to you as soon as all of this is done, and we'll see how much we ended up with. Okay, guys, it is done. Let's see how we did. Now remember, this is just from the very first 3 machines in the factorization ore processing thing. We haven't even touched the crystallizer yet. So out of 16, we got 42. Not quite 48, but certainly better than the 32 that we would have gotten if we had just pulverized the ore. You know what? Just for completeness sake, let's just go ahead and put everything into the. Let's just put these 42 ores into the crystallizer and see what we come up with. Now for that, we're going to need the Aqua Regia. So let's do this. And remember too, this is something where you have to um, separate these out equally. So it is definitely something that you want to do manually, unless, like I said, you have so much you are way less than concerned about it. So I'm going to put these in here. We've got 2 extra, so there'll be nine rounds of this, and let's just see where we end up with at the end of all this. Okay, guys, we just got done with our first round of cooking in the crystallizer, and remember there was 5 in here. Now there's 6, so it actually added 1 to it. I've got 2 in here. Um, so since this is a single player world, and come on, get off there. There we go. Since it's a single player world and I don't want to spend all night waiting for 7 batches, I just put down some more crystallizers, and so each one's got one batch too. So I do want to see how many we end up with, but but I didn't want to wait. So um, I'll be back as soon as all of these are done. I'll combine them back all into the chest or something like that. Just remember we started off with 16, and even if we get a 1-to-1 ratio, we're almost at we're well over double what we started off with. So we'll wait for all these guys to finish, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, we are back for the final bit. We got 53 crystal and iron out of this. So again, we started off with 16 ore, we got 53. That is over triple what we would have gotten otherwise. And I think that's really good. That is fantastic. So again, guys, you know, normally I would let this run on a chunk loader and stuff like that. I wouldn't need all of these, but I have extras at my base just because this does take a while, and I'll be the first to admit that. But this is pretty easy to craft. Powering is not that big of a deal. These things don't use that much power. So yeah, set one up, build one on your own, and enjoy the reap the harvest of ore that you'll get. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you learned a little bit about this. Go out and do it yourself. I'm going to hit you with my own crystallizer. Anyway, that is it for this tutorial, and I guess the only thing left to do is to say adios, auf Wiedersehen, good night.